Well, I've been out finding America, and I even found a little bit from Canada too. Well, welcome back to my channel, Finding America, and I really hope you enjoy this video. Now, once again, before we get started, I got some great photographs of one of our very first subscribers and a longtime supporter of the channel, Kayla from Tennessee, wearing her favorite Finding America shirt. Well, Kayla, I really can't thank you enough for sending me those pictures. But most of all, thank you so much for your support ever since we started this channel 14 months ago. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that's viewing and my subscribers for their support as well. And if you'd like to send me a picture of yourself wearing your favorite Finding America t-shirt, you can do so by emailing it to me at findingamerica01@gmail.com. Now, I'd really love to see them, and I'll be more than happy to include them in a future episode of Finding America. Well, I was on my own this week, and this episode consists of two separate hunts that I went on. Now, I had a few extra hours Friday evening, so I decided to head out to one of my favorite haunts, an old Victorian neighborhood in a town not that far away from me. Now, once again, I was using the Equinox 800 and the small 6-inch coil that our friends at Kilico were kind enough to send to me to test. Now, I have to say, once I started swinging, those relics really started to come out of the ground. I was getting a real nice 20-21 signal, and I dug down. It's been a little while since I dug one of these. I just dug a thimble. It's very cool. I love digging thimbles, especially like the advertising ones, which this one may be. I think I see some lettering. Let me see if I can get it cleaned up a little bit, and I'll give you a better look at it. Well, this is kind of interesting. Pulled a nasty rusty piece of metal out of this hole, but it was still giving me a 13. So I kept looking, and I was kind of surprised to see this. Check that out. Maybe some type of costume jewelry. I'm gonna get a little water on it in the brush. I'll gently brush it off and see what it looks like. Pretty neat little item. Well, that's pretty darn cool. I'll tell you what. It's just got a big fake jewel in the center and like a sun or a star. That's really cool. And here's the back side. What remains is some type of costume jewelry. Very old, and that's pretty neat. Gave me a 13. Well, this is a very cool relic. It's getting to 20, and it was pretty far down there, about 8 inches. And I pulled it out, and I thought, oh boy, hunk of junk, huh? Rusty iron. And I flipped it over. Check that out. Some of you may recognize what this is. This is actually a hanging scale, and it does have, I can make out NWC with a star up here, and then down here it has the measurements. It would have hung and probably would have had like a hanging dish underneath it or a hook, and they would have weighed things with it. But that is very cool. Definitely 1800s, early 1900s. Hopefully when I get it home I can do a little more cleanup on it and see if I can find an undug. That is really cool. Quite surprising though. I'm sitting there thinking, well, another piece of iron. I flip it over, I'm like, oh, I know what that is. So very happy with that. Something very different. Well, next signal is really kind of neat. It's ringing up like a nickel, and it wasn't very deep. I dug down and check it out. I'm not really sure what it says. I think it may have some writing here, so I will check that out when I get it home. But kind of unusual. Definitely has some age to it. It's got this little slot here too. I kind of think I know what it is, but I just can't quite place it, but just thought I'd film it, and if it's anything interesting, I will show you a picture of it in just a few seconds. Well, I got this little thing. It rang up 15. I have no idea what it is. The only thing I do know, it's an 8.5. If anyone has any idea what this is, I wouldn't mind knowing. It's kind of a cool little piece, definitely has some age to it. And it's about 6 inches down. Well, next thing was ringing at 18. And you might be saying, why in the world am I going to show you this? But I kind of remember these when I was growing up. I think this was back in the 80s and 90s. Dr. Pepper had a campaign, Twist a Pepper. Not on the bottom side, it would tell you if you want a free soda or not, but pretty cool. Kind of took me back to my days, and I thought I'd share it with you. Well, after finding that Dr. Pepper bottle cap, it reminded me of a few things in Dr. Pepper's history that I think you'll find very interesting. Dr. Pepper was first invented by a pharmacist named Charles Alderton. Well, he invented it while experimenting with all kinds of different combinations of syrup flavors. And he worked at a place called Morrison's Old Corner Drugstore in Waco, Texas. And this all took place way back in 1885. Well, it actually wasn't until 1904 before Dr. Pepper made its national debut at the St. Louis World's Fair. And while there, it became an instant success and quickly became one of the favorite beverages of the American people. One other thing you might not realize is there were a few iconic American products making their debut at that World's Fair as well. The very first ice cream cone, the very first hamburger, and the very first hot dog. And finally, in the 1960s, Dr. Pepper sought to expand their product's appeal during the winter months by telling Americans how amazing hot Dr. Pepper was when served with lemon. Now, they had high hopes of starting a brand new craze with the steaming hot Dr. Pepper beverage, but as you might guess, it really did not catch on. Maybe we should have a hot Dr. Pepper challenge. If you'd like to try an amazing cup of hot Dr. Pepper and let us know what it's like, we'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to take a picture of yourself doing it, all the better. After all, wouldn't you like to have a hot pepper too? Now this signal was ringing 2627. I thought I was on a dime, but actually it turned out to be a wheat penny. And unfortunately, I cannot make out the date. I'll get that home and see what year it is and let you know. Well, this was high toning irregularly, I guess. A lot of nails in the hole, and it just kept high toning, so I kept going down. And look, I mean seriously, look how far down I went. So it's probably here, it's about 9 inches, and I finally got it out, and it's part of the mechanism to a pocket watch. So pretty cool. But boy, I tell you what, that's some serious depth for that little coil. I'm very impressed. Well, I tell you what, I had to dig really, really deep for this one. It would high tone one direction and mid tone the other direction. And I was like, what the heck? And I went down, I don't know, it looks like 11 inches. I finally got him out. Check it out. It's a printing plate. And I got both pieces. So that is way cool, and I'm going to get it brushed off and see what it says. But I love finding printing plates. Well, only thing I can make out on it says vaccines. I'll have to get it home and clean it up. But very cool piece, and yeah, I'm very happy to find that. Boy, I had to go really deep for it too. Well, this next hunt, it took place the very next morning at a sidewalk strip that I have hunted for the past 5 years. Now, over a century ago, along this sidewalk strip, stood a huge hotel that was built in the 1880s. Now, it was in business for a few years, but eventually it went bust. And in the 1890s, the building was purchased and converted into a sanatorium. Well, unfortunately, it burned down in the early 1900s and absolutely nothing remains of the original structure. So every year I go there and metal detect. But I haven't been able to take the Equinox there yet. I finally got a chance to this past Saturday morning. Now I've hunted this strip with multiple detectors, multiple coils, and I was really anxious to see what I could find with the Equinox and 6-inch coil. And I have to say, the Equinox impressed. I'll tell you what, this next hole was really cool. Bunch of low signals, but just the tiniest squeak of a high tone in there. And I thought, well, let me go ahead and go for it. And I got down about 6 inches. And this is the first thing I popped out. Now, it was all long and straight. I bundled it up so I could get it in my pouch to throw it away. But it was real thick copper wire. And I was still getting a signal down in the hole, so I dug further. And this is what popped out. That's a clothespin spring. Old iron one. And I still got a little blip. So I went down a little bit more and check it out. I got a sweet early weedy. Look how green it is. 1919. And that thing was coming through with that small coil and giving me enough of a high tone to go for it. Of course, I would have dug the low tone too, but it's really impressive that I could actually hear this thing amidst all this garbage. So really great testimony to that coil. Well, the next hole was sort of a mid-tone kind of nickel signal, and turned out to be this base to a light bulb. But what was also cool, look what popped out of the dirt. Got a real nice marble. Little bonus in the hole. Well, okay, we have a really cool find now. It's getting a mixed signal. It's getting a 25, maybe going up to 26 every once in a while. And I'm near the old driveway and I was hitting the gravel layer. And I kept digging and I put the dirt on my drop cloth and check it out. Got a silver dime. That is so awesome. I don't even know what it is yet. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Oh my God, I was not expecting this. It's Canadian. Oh, look at that. Alright, I need to stop rubbing it. I'm going to spray it down with some water and I'll be right back. But oh my gosh, I got a silver Canadian dime. That is awesome. Well, there she is. Look at that coin. Oh man, that's so awesome. Don't find very many of those in Tennessee. Let me show you the backside here. I'm right next to the road, guys, so, but let me just get this turned around. Look at that. 1928. Is that not cool or what? That surprised the heck out of me. I thought it was going to be a Rosie or a Merc. Well, to continue from the last video, you just never know. Well, I was getting a 12 on the Equinox, and I dug down and check out what I got. It's actually a ring, very old. Love the filigree pattern on it. And there's the back side. I'm not sure if I'll be able to straighten this one without breaking it, but I'll give it a shot. I like playing with these and seeing if I can at least get them round looking again. But that is awesome. Must have had a stone in the center here. Since falling out. I didn't see anything in the hole, but very cool little find. Yeah, some nice, I'm still on the very first row and just running down the sidewalk here. Well, next signal, bouncing around between 11 and 13, and I already filled the hole, but I wanted to show you what I got out of there. This is a nice old lead bucking ball. Now, for those of you not familiar with that, they would pack like 3 of these in with one musket ball in a single load on a musket. And matter of fact, George Washington was the big proponent of the buck and ball load, and he required his soldiers to always load 3 of these and 1 musket ball in every shot. So, a little tidbit there, and it carried all the way through the Civil War. Well, kept getting a 13, Had to go down about, I'd say about 9 inches. And got half a horseshoe. Still has the hobnails in it. That's pretty cool. That really dates back to the early times of this area. Well, I'll tell you what, this is an awesome little dig it all moment. I was getting a 16, 17, and just wanted to go ahead and wanted to dig it out just to clear it out of there. And I dug down and I got this rusty bottle cap. No big deal. I ran the coil over it again, and man, it was smacking 27. I mean, when I heard the 16, I was getting no high tone whatsoever. But once that bottle cap was out of there, I mean, it must have been sitting right on top of it, because look what I found just a couple inches deeper. See that? I got a silver dime. It's just awesome. I mean, seriously, no indication that this was in the hole until I got that bottle cap out of there. And wow, got a mark. All right, let me spray this off and I'll be back and give you a better look at it, and we'll see what year it is. But woohoo, man. Yeah, dig it all. You never know what's being masked by the garbage. Well, there you have it. It's a Hoover Boy special. It's a 1944. So I will take that 44. And there's the backside. Is that not awesome? Wow, that was just completely unexpected. I was so shocked when I was getting that banging high tone. Oh man. So there you go, 2 silver this morning. Awesome. Well, now it's time for our weekly historical photos from our great country's past. I don't think you're going to want to miss these. So remember, it's history that makes that find a real treasure, and I cannot wait to see you back here next week on Finding America.